The NBA's gambling problem just went from bad to worse. Betting scandals are shaking the league, and players are getting caught in the fire. First, Jontay Porter got banned for life, and now Terry Rozier is under federal investigation. Could this be the biggest betting scandal since Tim Donaghy? Is the NBA about to lose control of its integrity? Buckle up, because what we're about to expose will change how you see the NBA forever. How sports betting took over the NBA. Once upon a time, the NBA treated gambling like a disease. It was the one thing that could destroy the league's credibility. The league saw what happened to baseball with Pete Rose. They saw the NCAA constantly battling point-shaving scandals. And they even had their own nightmare with Tim Donaghy, the referee who fixed games for the mob.
It's rocked to its core when the news hit that referee Tim Donaghy had admitted that he had illegally bet on games he himself had officiated.
But then, everything changed. Let's rewind to 2014, when NBA Commissioner Adam Silver made a statement that shocked the sports world. Sports betting should be legal.
We should regulate it. We should legalize it. It's not, to me, an issue of whether I'm pro or con sports betting. We know now that it goes on largely underground. Hundreds of billions of dollars are bet every year just in the United States on sports betting.
This was radical. The NBA had spent decades treating gambling like a contagion. Players and referees were strictly warned. No association with bettors. The league had even banned its own employees from betting on games. But Silver? He saw an opportunity. While his predecessor, David Stern, spent his tenure keeping gambling far away from the NBA, Silver took the opposite approach. He saw legalized sports betting as a way to increase fan engagement, drive revenue, and boost TV ratings. Fast forward to 2018, and Silver got exactly what he wanted.
To Washington now, where the Supreme Court will allow states to legalize sports betting. The court struck down a federal law that banned gambling on sports games in most of the country.
Justices ruled 7-2 on the case. And CBS News chief legal correspondent Jan Crawford is following the latest from Washington. She's with us now on the phone. So, Jan, let's talk about this case. I know New Jersey has been really pushing for this. The casinos have really wanted this in Atlantic City. What can you tell us about the case and its significance?
Well, I mean, the big headline is that this really paves the way for states across the country to legalize sports betting, and you're going to see that happen very quickly in a number of states. I mean, already New Jersey's got the sports betting machines ready to go. They just got to turn them on. West Virginia, they've already passed a law that would allow sports betting at its 5 licensed gambling sites if the Supreme Court had ruled the way it did today. Maryland voters are going to take up a referendum this November that would authorize legal sports betting. So you're going to see movement now in states across the country.
May 14th, 2018, one of the biggest days in American sports history. The Supreme Court overturned PASPA, the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, a law that had kept sports betting illegal in most states for over 25 years. Boom! Just like that, the doors were open. And the NBA? They wasted no time cashing in. Within months, we saw the rise of FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM. Sportsbooks were suddenly partners with the NBA, sponsoring teams, arenas, and even live broadcasts. Broadcasters openly discussed betting lines, and suddenly, the NBA on TNT was showing live odds right on the screen. This wasn't some underground gambling ring anymore. This was corporate. It was official. It was everywhere. And guess what? The NBA was raking in millions from it. The league wasn't just promoting betting, it was profiting directly from it. The NBA signed revenue-sharing deals with major betting operators, meaning the more people gambled, the more money the NBA made. This wasn't just about ticket sales and TV rights anymore. This was about turning every fan into a bettor. Think about it. You're watching a game, and a little pop-up appears. Bet now on the next possession. You're tempted. It's just $5. And before you know it, you're placing bets every quarter. The NBA had found a way to monetize every second of every game. And that's when the real problems started. Jontay Porter, the biggest NBA gambling scandal ever.
take the contact and hang in the air and still be able to have that soft finish.
Deep three rattled home by Jontay Porter, guarded by Fox. As Porter looks to set the screen, gave Fox a little push in the back, no call. Here he is on the inside, tough shot. Saskatoon was born in Canada, Trey Lyles.
It's nice for Trey to have a good game against the Raptors.
Yeah. Oh, how about Jontay Porter?
First and foremost, you got to make it cool off. Contest. Jay Barrett off iron there, and Jontay Murray.
Now, let's talk about Jontay Porter, the man who just became the face of NBA gambling scandals. In April 2024, the NBA dropped the hammer, a lifetime ban. No second chances, no appeals, gone for good. Why? Because he got caught in the worst way possible. Porter wasn't just betting on NBA games. He was betting on games he played in. And even worse, he was feeding gamblers inside information about his own health to help them win bets. Think about that. A professional athlete makes thousands of dollars per game and actively rigs his own performance to make money on the side. It wasn't just a little side hustle, it was orchestrated. March 20th, 2024. The Raptors were playing, and Porter had a plan. Before tip-off, he reportedly told an NBA bettor about his health issues, giving them a heads up that he wasn't feeling 100%. Minutes later, another individual, someone Porter knew was involved in betting, placed an insane bet, $80,000 on a parlay that Porter would underperform. The payout? $1.1 million. But something strange happened in that game. Porter played exactly 3 minutes. Then, out of nowhere, he checked out, claiming he felt ill just as the bet predicted.
Well, Jontay Porter, the absolute clown, has been banned for life from the NBA for violating the league's rules around gambling. And sometimes you hear about players gambling where they're gambling on another sport or gambling on other teams in the league. No, this was as bad a situation as you can possibly imagine. And this is a problem not just for the player or ex-player, but also for the NBA. For one, Porter bet against himself and against the Toronto Raptors. There were really several egregious situations, one where he disclosed information about his health before a bet, another where he wagered that he would underperform, then pulled himself out. And this is so bad. I mean, this goes to the heart of the league's integrity. This cannot happen.
Suspicious? You bet. Licensed sportsbooks immediately flagged the bet as unusual. Too much money was on it. The timing was too perfect. So, they froze the $80,000 payout. And once the NBA started investigating, it didn't take long to connect the dots. The NBA's investigation revealed that Porter had been involved in gambling for months. From January to March 2024, while traveling with the Raptors and their G League affiliate, Porter placed at least 13 bets on NBA games using an associate's account. These weren't tiny bets either. Some bets were as small as $15. Others were as high as $22,000. In total, he wagered $54,094 and walked away with $76,059, meaning he profited nearly $22,000 from betting on NBA games. And the worst part? He even bet against his own team. That's right. Porter placed 3 different bets that the Raptors would lose. Luckily for Toronto fans, he was a terrible gambler. He lost all 3, but the damage was done. This was no longer just a bad decision. This was a full-blown scandal.
And as to your question about the consequences, I have enormous range of discipline available to me, but it's cardinal sin, you know, that what he's accused of in the NBA, and the ultimate extreme option I have is, you know, to ban him from the game. I mean, that's the level of, you know, of authority I have here, because there's nothing more serious, I think, in, you know, around this league when it comes to, you know, gambling and betting on our games, and that is a direct player involvement. And so investigation is ongoing, but, you know, the consequences could be very severe.
When the NBA released its findings, Adam Silver made one thing clear. Porter was done. There is nothing more important than protecting the integrity of our game. The lifetime ban was swift and brutal. And honestly, the NBA had no choice. They couldn't afford another Tim Donaghy situation. They couldn't let the league's credibility take a hit. But here's where things get even worse for Porter. The NBA has been actively sharing its findings with federal prosecutors, meaning this could go way beyond a simple ban. Porter might not just be kicked out of the league. He could end up facing criminal charges.
Developing right now, Jontay Porter, the brother of Nuggets star Michael Porter Jr., pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud in a federal criminal case tied to a betting scandal that got him banned from the NBA for life. In court this afternoon, the former Toronto Raptors player said he agreed to withdraw early from games to get out from under large gambling debt. He also quotes as saying, "I know what I did was wrong, unlawful, and I'm deeply sorry." Porter will be sentenced in December. He faces up to 4 years in prison.
This isn't just a bad look for the NBA. It's a catastrophe. And the league knows it. Because here's the scary part. If Porter was doing this, who else is? Are other players involved? Are more scandals about to break? This might just be the tip of the iceberg. Terry Rozier.
Hornets get it right back. Something needs to fall. That's what I'm talking about. Three-pointer Terry Rozier.
Brandon did a good job not to go for that ball fake. He's got one of the best in the league. But the step through the up and under.
All right, Hornets figured out their offense. Back-to-back threes. This time it's Miles Bridges. Terry darts into the paint, leaves it for Big Nick Richards. Hornets' first dunk of the ball game.
The Hornets have done a good job. It's about being in the right place, making good decisions with the ball. A lot goes in.
Terry shooting a good ball early. Big Keith Thornton, yeah, he's played a minute and a half. He's already got 4 rebounds. Whoa! He was fading to his left. Did the mental math still?
Now, we need to talk about Terry Rozier. Miami Heat fans, you might want to sit down for this. Rozier is currently under federal investigation for possible involvement in an illegal betting ring. And the evidence? It's looking bad. The FBI is looking into a game from March 23rd, 2023, when Rozier, still with the Hornets, left early due to a foot injury. But here's the catch. Right before the game, a huge volume of bets were placed on Rozier to fall short of key stats like points and assists. And guess what? He played less than 10 minutes. He only took 4 shots, scoring 5 points, and had just 2 assists. The bets cashed in big time. Coincidence? Maybe. But when U.S. Integrity, a group that monitors suspicious betting activity, flagged it to the NBA, things got serious. The league launched an investigation but found no wrongdoing. Case closed, right? Wrong. Federal prosecutors are now digging deeper, investigating whether Rozier was influenced by the same gambling ring that got Jontay Porter banned. Here's where things get even messier. Porter was allegedly coerced into manipulating games by a group of high-stakes gamblers and poker players. Authorities now believe these same individuals bet against Rozier a full year earlier. They may have had inside information prompting them to place massive wagers on his underperformance. And here's another red flag. Some sportsbooks stopped taking bets on Rozier's stats for that game. That's not normal. In fact, over the last 2 NBA seasons, U.S. Integrity only flagged 3 games for unusual betting. 2 of them involved Porter, the other, Rozier.
Now to a developing story. The NBA confirmed Thursday that suspicious gambling activity surrounding guard Terry Rozier in a game nearly 2 years ago is now being investigated by federal prosecutors as a part of the same probe that led to the lifetime ban of former Raptors player Jontay Porter. Now, at the time, Rozier was playing for the Hornets. The Wall Street Journal, they first reported the investigation, and NBA spokesperson Mike Bass said in a statement, quote, "In March 2023, the NBA was alerted to unusual betting activity related to Terry Rozier's performance in a game between Charlotte and New Orleans. The league conducted an investigation and did not find a violation of NBA rules. The league said they are cooperating with the U.S. Attorney's Office's investigation here. We will continue to update this story as it develops."
Rozier has denied any wrongdoing, and his attorney, Jim Trusty, insists he'll be cleared. The NBA even investigated him before the game and found nothing. But with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York now leading the case, things just got a whole lot more serious. One thing is clear: this story is far from over. Whether Rozier is guilty or not, the NBA's battle with gambling scandals is just getting started. The bigger problem is the NBA losing control. But let's step back. This isn't just about Jontay Porter or Terry Rozier. This is about something much bigger. The NBA has embraced sports betting like never before, but have they underestimated the dangers? Because we're already seeing the consequences. And let's not forget Tim Donaghy, the NBA referee who was caught fixing games for the mob. If a referee could manipulate games back then, imagine how much easier it is now with mobile betting, in-game props, and AI-driven analytics. A single injury, a missed free throw, a turnover, millions of dollars can shift hands in an instant. Think about it. One bad shot could be the difference between winning or losing thousands of dollars. The NBA is walking a dangerous tightrope. And the Rozier investigation? It's forcing the league to answer a very uncomfortable question. Are they actually in control? When it was just Jontay Porter, the league could call it one bad apple, a fringe NBA player who made a bad choice. But if this investigation uncovers something bigger, the NBA is going to find itself in serious trouble. 2 gambling scandals in 1 year? That's not bad luck, that's a pattern. And here's the thing, leagues are in bed with betting companies. The NBA profits massively from legalized gambling, so their first instinct is to deny. They want to prove their game is clean. But if they find a bad actor, they'll throw the book at them to convince the world that corruption isn't widespread. But is it really that simple? This isn't just some rumor. This isn't a random Twitter conspiracy. This is a federal investigation. A story in the Wall Street Journal. Sportsbooks pulled bets on Rozier before the game even started. Why? Because they saw something suspicious. And that's what's so sketchy here. The game in question was played in late March, during a lost season for the Charlotte Hornets. The team was already tanking for a better draft pick. No one was watching. No one was paying attention. And yet somehow, there was so much betting action around Rozier's underperformance that sportsbooks cut off bets. What we all deserve right now from the NBA is transparency. What did their 2023 investigation actually find? How did we get to this point where federal prosecutors are now involved? The NBA says Rozier hasn't been accused of anything, but something doesn't add up. Let's break it down. His betting line gets pulled midday. No known injury before the game, and then he plays only 10 minutes, after which he suddenly exits with an injury on a team that wasn't competing for anything. If you believe in coincidences, maybe that's all this is, but if you don't, this is far too suspicious to ignore. The NBA has a problem. It's no longer just about players. It's about the entire system. The league is pushing sports betting harder than ever. But the moment things look shady, they expect us to trust their word. This story isn't over. And if this scandal keeps growing, the entire NBA might have to answer for it. The widening web, beyond the NBA. But this issue isn't confined to the NBA. The tentacles of illicit sports betting have reached into the heart of college athletics, threatening the integrity of amateur sports. Federal authorities are currently investigating suspicious betting activities involving at least 3 men's college basketball programs: Eastern Michigan, Mississippi Valley State, and North Carolina A&T. The scrutiny intensified after unusual wagering patterns were detected in games featuring these teams. In one notable instance, a game between Eastern Michigan and Central Michigan in January 2024 drew attention due to irregular betting activity. Bets placed against Eastern Michigan raised red flags, prompting a deeper investigation into potential game manipulation. Similarly, a March 2024 game involving Temple University saw a dramatic shift in the first half betting line, favoring their opponent, the University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB. UAB led by 15 points at halftime, and the betting activity surrounding this game was flagged as suspicious. Former Temple player Fab Miller is now under investigation for his potential involvement in this incident. These investigations are part of a broader federal probe into a suspected gambling ring that has already implicated NBA players Jontay Porter and Terry Rozier. The same network of gamblers and poker players is believed to have placed significant bets on these college games, suggesting a widespread scheme to manipulate outcomes across multiple levels of basketball. The implications are profound. If college athletes, many of whom are not financially compensated, are found to be involved in betting scandals, the consequences could be severe, including potential criminal charges and the end of their athletic careers. The rise of legalized sports betting has created a complex landscape where the lines between fair play and financial gain can become dangerously blurred. As the industry continues to grow, so too does the challenge of preserving the integrity of the games we love. The NBA and NCAA now face a critical juncture. Without stringent oversight and proactive measures, the very essence of competitive sports is at risk. The question remains, can these institutions regain control, or has the lure of gambling revenue led them into a perilous game they can no longer referee? As the investigations unfold, the sports world holds its breath, hoping that the integrity of the game can withstand the pressures of a betting culture that shows no signs of slowing down. What's next? Will the NBA crack down? So, what happens now? Commissioner Adam Silver has repeatedly assured fans that the NBA is committed to keeping the game fair. But is that enough? Are they really monitoring this the way they should? Or are they just hoping this problem goes away? Because one thing is certain, sports betting isn't going anywhere. The NBA is now tangled in a billion-dollar industry that thrives on unpredictable outcomes. If they don't take serious action, this could turn into a nightmare scenario. What happens next? Are more players getting caught manipulating bets? A full-blown game-fixing scandal? Or perhaps the NBA is doubling down on gambling even further?
Would you like to own a piece of the betting profits in the league?
Not the profits. I think our proposal is, it's been a bit controversial, but we've proposed that we receive something that I've called an integrity fee, and some people said, oh, that's a euphemism for you just getting a royalty, and I'm saying, all right, call it a royalty.
Here's the truth. The NBA created this predicament. They embraced betting revenue, signing lucrative deals with sportsbooks. But now they're facing the unintended consequences. Integrity concerns, federal investigations, and a growing distrust from fans. The league must now decide. Do they crack down hard, banning any association between players and gambling? Or do they bury the problem, hoping it doesn't spiral into something worse? As more scandals emerge, the NBA might have no choice but to rethink its entire approach. But will they? Only time will tell. So here we are. The NBA wanted sports betting. They got it. And now they're dealing with the consequences. Jontay Porter, banned for life. Terry Rozier, under federal investigation. College basketball, under scrutiny. And this, just the beginning. The question is no longer if more scandals will emerge. The question is when. The NBA has a choice to make. Will they take real action to protect the integrity of the game? Or will they let gambling money run the league while hoping nobody notices? Because one thing is certain, this problem isn't going away. The betting industry is bigger than ever. The stakes are higher than ever. And if the NBA doesn't get this under control, this could become the biggest scandal in league history. What do you think? Is the NBA doing enough to stop game fixing? Or are they letting the gambling industry take over? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next investigation.